Hello everyone, welcome to this very special session on mock strategy. Today we are going to learn how to use the mocks in the best way possible so that they give us the most benefit. You see, mocks are a very important part of our preparation process, right? When we take mocks, we sort of understand what our preparation level is. We understand how much we are capable of scoring in an exam-like scenario. We also understand what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, right? So all of these things we understand from our mocks and the analysis of those mocks. So for preparation, what we do with our mocks becomes very important, because that ultimately would decide how you would perform in your actual test. And therefore, such an important topic, I thought I should give you some advice on that, and this session will be very important. So listen to me very carefully. Now, I also thought that this is the period when you guys are a lot stressed because you are doing so many things together. You are studying, you are revising your concepts, you are taking mocks, you are practicing questions, you are doing general awareness, right? It's just less than 1 month to mains, so you have so many responsibilities, so you must be very stressed out there. So I thought, why not to share my gyan with you in a fun, in an entertaining way, so that you enjoy the session also and remember the things that I tell you more, and also are able to implement them at your own place, right? And that's why I have brought these two gentlemen today to aid me in telling you what I want to share with you about mocks or mock strategy at large, right? I don't think that I will have to introduce these two gentlemen to you. Obviously, they are Tara Singh of Gadar and Azad, the police officer of Jawan. These two movies have created history in box office. It was the first time in Indian cinema's history that two of the biggest blockbusters happened in 2 consecutive months. So let's take some things out of their book and see whether they would be able to help us in our journey or not. Okay, so the first thing that we would see is that the target. Now, how would the targets of these two gentlemen differ? In Gadar, target of Tara Singh was to reach India, right? Safely he wanted to reach India. Whereas in Jawan, Azad's target was to reform the society, isn't it? So two very different targets. Now we need to see our target is close to whom. Now, what is your target inside the mock? Inside the mock means when you are taking the mock or when you are taking your test also, what is your target? Your target is also very specific. Your target is to reach the end of the paper. That means complete the paper, right? Now, don't misunderstand me. When I say complete the paper, I do not mean you should do all the questions. In mains especially, you would see there would be so many questions which you might leave, right? Depending upon the difficulty level of the paper, there would be so many questions you would be leaving and there would be many questions that you would be doing. The trick is doing those questions where you would get scores and leaving those questions where you will not get scores. That's the trick. That is how you will score your best, isn't it? Right? Because see, at this juncture, when there is 20 days to exam, 25 days to exam, you will not be able to do much with your conceptual background. But what you can do definitely is with your ability to score. You must have seen that a lot of times students whose concepts are average or above average, but they are scoring exceptionally well in tests. And there are instances where students whose scores are average, but their concepts are exceptionally well. So why this mismatch? Because the first person knows how to take the test, the second person knows the concepts but they do not know how to take the test, right? So if in one sentence I'll have to summarize the test taking mentality, it should be to score in those questions where you can score, and to leave those questions which you cannot do at that moment of time, at that point of time, right? So reaching to the end of the paper means that I take a question, I do it, then I move on to the next question. If I can do it, I will do it, or I'll leave it, then I'll move on to the next question, and this goes on. In what order I should take the question, what should be my priority of doing the question, that I'll come to in a moment. But the primary purpose, the target is like Tara saying, specific, reaching a place. To, in your case, reaching the end of the paper. Your target is not, generic or changing the society, or a very big target. No, that was Azad's target, right? Obviously, the way you set your target, that's the way you move. So when you set your target for something very big, right? If your target is to change the society, and then you go into the paper, then you will not be able to concentrate on the paper. You'll be able to concentrate on the paper only when your target is specified inside the paper, right? Okay. So in this case, we will follow the footsteps of Tara Singh. Okay. Now, the second point is nature of fight. You saw I talked about 5 points in the at the starting of the class, 5 points that are important and which will make our mock strategy. I wrote it down on the slide also. So the second point out of it is nature of fight. Now, if you see, Tara Singh's nature of fight is that he fights on enemy's turf, and he's a solo hero, only hero, no teamwork. He goes in, he fights, he kills, he picks up the hand pump and does all the stuff himself, right? That's his style. Whereas Azad does not go into enemy's turf. He creates a hero's turf and gets his villains inside his area. He got the minister in his area. He got the people whom he wanted to teach a lesson in his area. So it was always his turf. And secondly, he went by teamwork. He had a gang of girls with whom he did the teamwork and then brought people to justice. So this was his way of operation. Now here is a catch. Prima facie, if you look at your nature of fight or nature of test taking for that matter, it seems like Tara Singh's enemy's turf and only hero. Now I agree with the only hero part, but I don't agree with the enemy's turf. There I can convert, or I can guide you to convert the enemy's turf into hero's turf. I can guide you to convert Pakistan to India. How? I'll tell you in a moment in the next point, but just try to understand the concept that I'm telling you. You see, you are the only hero in the paper, that's obvious. In that way, you are similar to Tara Singh. But you do not need to go and fight inside Pakistan. It seems like there is a paper, it's an enemy, right? The paper gives you uncertain things and therefore it has to be enemy's turf. But you can convert it into hero's turf. And there comes Azad's strategies. You see what Azad used to do? He used to convert that particular situation to his advantage. The train was a public property, right? It was his fight was against the ruling people. He was going against the society at large. So it was a property of the society, but he made it his own turf because he disconnected any kind of connection with the outer world, and his was the only connection, right? He planned it that way. He played it to his strengths, right? So what he essentially did is he converted the pitch to his favor, and that's what you also need to do. And for that, one advice that I gave in the last slide would work, that you'll have to leave questions, you will have to complete the paper. So completing the paper is doing what you can and leaving what you cannot, right? So when you leave the questions, then you are not succumbing, you are not surrendering to your enemy, which is the paper in this case, or the question paper setter. You are not surrendering to him. You are saying, okay, you have given me a question which I will not be able to do. I am not going to lose time here, my friend. I am going to move on to the next, where I will be able to use or utilize my time in a better way, right? So this way you are playing on with your enemy and making enemy's turf your turf. Okay, how to do it in detail, how to prioritize the questions in such a way so that you are benefited, that we will talk about in the next point. Here, if you look at from where we are taking 1 point from Tara Singh, we are taking 1 point from Azad. So we are following both of their footsteps, not in totality, but which favors us most, right? Only hero, that's a situation. We will have to give our paper by ourselves. We cannot do teamwork there. But enemy's turf can be converted to hero's turf. Let's understand it in detail. There comes the point number 3, which is before attack, what do these two gentlemen do differently, right? And from that, we will understand the strategy of what you should do before mock. Now, before attack, Tara Singh did what? He did not do anything. He just went and attacked. Jahan jo mood kiya, unhone kar diya, right? Whatever he saw there, he did. So, no plan, no strategy. Before attack, Azad, fully planned, clear strategy. He had exact plans of how to take the minister to that hospital. He had exact plans of how to get away from police after the train hijack episode. He had plans for everything, right? Very clearly planned and strategized. Now, what you should do? Whose footstep should you follow? Without doubt, here we should be following Azad's footsteps. Why? Because planning and strategizing will make us a better candidate than our competitor. Because exam is all about beating the competition, right? So, how will we become better than the competitor? Because if our nature of taking the paper is better than the nature of taking the paper of theirs, then we will do better in the paper. But how do we plan and strategize? Now, understand this part very carefully. A lot of point 2 will also be cleared. You see, there is a paper. You have 4 sections, right? Each section has some time limit. So, it's a time bound test. Therefore, time is one resource that I cannot lose, which means we will have to use time very judiciously. So, should I go in order and do all the question from question number 1 till end? We will have to end the paper, na? We will have to complete the paper, right? We take one question, we try it, we cannot do it, we move on to the next question, we try it, we do it, we move on to the third question, try it, do it. Is this the way we should do? Well, this is one way, but is it the best way to do it? Think about it. There can be questions where giving 2 minutes, you can score 5 marks. And there would be questions where given 5 minutes, you will score 1 mark, right? Because different questions take different amount of time. I'll give an example from English section. In English section, RC 5 questions will take around 7 to 8 minutes, right? And fill in the blanks, single filler, double filler, if you have that in the paper, that would take you hardly 40 seconds, 30 seconds per question. So, 5 questions, 2.5 to 3 minutes. Okay. RC, let's say you are good at reading, you do RC well, still the accuracy level would be in between 80 to 90%, right? In fill in the blanks, even in your okayish kind of day, you will do more than 80% accuracy. So, accuracy, even if they are same, on the basis of speed, you will rank FIB at a higher priority than RC. So, that ways, you should be doing FIB first and then RC. What would happen therefore? Only speed is not the criteria. Your normal accuracy over the period of time that you have been taking mocks is also a criteria. And how to identify that I will talk about in the next point, right? So, but what is important to understand is that based on speed and accuracy, these two parameters, based on speed and accuracy, I am going to prioritize my paper. So some questions where my speed is high and accuracy is high should be in my 1-2 priority. Questions where my speed is high, accuracy is medium, or accuracy is high and speed is medium, that should be in my priority 3 and 4, right? And thereby I would make the rest of it. So this way, when I prioritize, what would happen? Now compare it with that strategy where I would take question number 1 from question number 1 and go to question number 30, 35, and when I am able to do it, I am doing it, and when I am not able to do it, I am leaving it. But in that case also, those questions, there is a chance of missing those questions where you might be good at, but you could not score because you could not give them enough time or enough justice. But in the second strategy, that will never happen. Why? Because you are already giving the first few minutes, first 10-15 minutes to those questions which you are best at. You are playing to your strengths, right? And thereby you are doing two things. One, you are using the time in the best way possible. Therefore, your chances of scoring is high. Also, your confidence will also go up, because in the first 10 minutes where people who are in the wrong strategy would do 2 questions, you would be doing 7 questions, 6 questions. You would feel very good about yourself. Arey bah, we are doing good job. That good feeling would make you do better in your next questions also, because confidence matters, na man. Now, that is one thing that this strategy would do. The second thing that it would do, it would help you in point number 2. What was point number 2? Making enemy's turf your turf. How are you doing it? If you are playing to your strengths, then the paper is not their paper now, na? Now the paper is your paper, because you are playing to your strength, right? Okay, now it's not Pakistan, it's India, and apne ghar pe to hum sher hai, right? We are tigers at our own home, isn't it? So that's how we will handle 2 problems with 1 way of approaching the test. Clear? Is it clear? Right? So your before the mock, your plan should be ready. How would you make it ready? You will go through the paper. Say, going through the 30-35 question, glance through the type of questions, just would take you hardly 2 minutes. In these 2 minutes, you will have an idea what kind of questions have come from which area. And based on your strengths, that is time and accuracy and speed, you will decide which to do first and which to do later on. Okay, that's how you do it. Now, in this case, therefore, we will be following Azad, right? Now, point number 4, inside the fight, inside the mock for you. So, inside the fight, how did Tara Singh differ from Azad? Tara Singh used the resources in the field. So, he improvised, right? He did not have any weapon, so he ukharo the hand pump, right? So, he improvised. Obviously, he is Tara Singh, therefore he can do it, but he always used whatever he had in his vicinity. Whereas Azad had everything planned. He had every weapons planned, disciplined, practiced, right? Now, how should we be inside the paper? We made a plan, we'll stick to the plan, but inside the paper, how would we adapt? Or what will we do? Here we will do both the things. We will improvise like Tara Singh, and we will be disciplined also. So, we will follow the plan in our disciplined manner. That means that I have 5 priorities of questions. Let's say priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 are those which are high speed, high accuracy, high speed, medium accuracy, medium speed, high accuracy questions. Then 3, 4, high speed, low accuracy, medium speed, medium accuracy, right? Then 5, those questions which are low speed, medium accuracy, low speed, low accuracy. So, these 5 priorities I have. I have made these priorities based on my judgment of when I went through the paper very fast. So that judgment might be flawed because I have not read the questions in totality. Na? The question might be difficult, isn't it? So what will we do? We will go through the questions when we are solving the questions, and then when we find that boss, मैंने तो सोचा था कि this is priority 2, but this is not priority 2. This is priority 4, 5 for me. At that point, I will improvise. I will not go ahead with that question at that point of time. I'll mark it for review and come back later on. You getting my point? Right. So you're moving in discipline, in an order, just like Azad, but you're improvising like Tara Singh also. So you're taking both, best of both, right? And this way we will follow both of their nature so that we get benefited the most, right? Now the last point, 5th point, after the fight, what to do, right? Here comes, point number 3, I told you, how would you prioritize? I have told you, but how would you know your strengths? Which question takes you more time? Which question takes you less time? Which question you have high accuracy? What will these decisions be based on? Would it be based on your instinct and feeling? No, not at all, right? These have to be based on objective data. Now, where would I get objective data? Here comes the objective data. See, after the fight, what does Tara Singh do? After Gadar won, he came back to his home, he enjoyed family life, sang songs. After Gadar 2 also, he would do the same thing. Yes or no? Right, that's what he'll do. But what does Azad do after a fight? He analyzes the fight because he will have to go for another fight and gets ready for the next. So your condition is close to whom? Tara Singh or Azad? It's Azad, na? Because when you take one mock, you will next day you will go on to the next mock. So whether you are going with your better self or worse self, that would be determined by what you do after the mock. So whether in mock 2 you are better than in your mock 1, that would be determined what you have done after mock 1, right? So what to do after mock 1? After mock 1, you will have to analyze the mock. How do you analyze the mock? Now, this is the way you analyze the mock. First, you take all the questions you have not attempted or you have done wrong inside the mock. When you took the mock inside time limit, always take the mocks in a time limit. Huh? So after that, you would score yourself, and when you are scoring yourself, you would see that these are wrong and these are unattempted. Those questions, pick them up and start doing them. This time, give them a little more time, right? This you can do next day also. Let's say today you took mock 1. Then the analysis can happen next day also, because long hours of mock, that might not happen in one day, analysis and mock every day. For prelims it could have been done, but for mains you can space them after an interval. Immediately after mock, don't try and analyze them, because you might not be in a mental state to take the right messages from it. So anyways, when you are analyzing it, so what you will do first, you will do all those questions which you have not attempted or you have done them wrong, and give a little more time and try and do them. This whole process for all the sections, Quant DI, reasoning, English, all the sections would take around 2.5 to 3 hours, because all of the questions need to be done. For general awareness, it does not matter, because for general awareness, you need to know the right answer. So look at the right answer and that would be more than enough. But for all the papers where you need to solve, problem solving is involved, you will do this. Once you have done that, now see how many of these questions that you have done now, they are correct. So if there are significant numbers that are correct, that gives you an indication that you have not strategized well inside the paper or before the paper, right? I'll give you an example. Let's say out of 35 questions, you did 20 correct in the section, and out of the rest 15, 10 were incorrect, 5 were unattempted. Okay. So, these 15 you did in the analysis day and you found 7 were correct. This means what? This means either you strategize the paper in a wrong way, therefore those questions which could have been done, you missed them, or you did not get enough time to solve them. Or second, which can happen, is that inside the paper you did not keep discipline, you did not leave questions that you should have been leaving, and therefore you did not get time, right? Either of these two things have happened. So, if these things have happened, my dear friend, then this will give you data about what you need to do in your next mock, right? First, you now know that these 7 are your areas from where you can score. Yes, time is also a factor, look at the time aspect also, but these are areas from where you can score. So, you will have to anyways include them in your priority in one way or the other in the next mock, these types of questions. Second, you will also realize the fact that how disciplined you are inside the paper. So, therefore, in the next paper where you are inside the paper, you should knock yourself that boss, I should be disciplined and leave when it is necessary to leave, right? Okay. So, this way, this analysis of mock would give you a lot of objective data which you will use to prioritize in your next mock, as well as when you are taking the mock, you will use them to control yourself also. So, this is what you need to do after the mock, right? Clear? And also understand, whenever you do the analysis, you also rescore yourself. What do we mean by rescore? See, your old score is whatever you have got after the mock. But your new score or rescoring is when you add whatever you got correct after your second attempt on the unattempted and the wrong questions. Because that shows that you had the concept of doing those questions, but you were not able to some way manage the time and resources that you could do them inside the paper, right? Okay. So, add them, and then what would come in front of you is your capability score, my dear friend. That's your capability score. So, a lot of time you get very distraught, very frustrated by looking at your scores. Why do you get so? Because you think that's your capability. But in reality, your capability is much higher. But first you will have to know what is your capability. Through the analysis process, you will know this, what is your capability. And when you know your capability, in the next mock, you will automatically be motivated to catch that capability score of yours, right? So, rather than getting demotivated after every mock, you will get more motivated after every mock. Because you are not looking at the score that you got in the mock, you are looking at your capability score, right? This is the way you orient your mindset, okay? So, these were the 5 points, and in this 5th point, we will be following the footsteps of Azad. We will analyze our fight, okay, right? Now, with these 5 steps, if you follow my advice, these 5 steps, you will be able to give a blockbuster performance in your actual test, if you follow them sincerely and take what you need to take out of it in the proper manner. Just like Gadar, just like Jawan, you will also give the blockbuster performance of your lives in the upcoming mains exams or any other exam that you would be taking this season. Only one thing that you need to keep in mind is that both of these gentlemen had one thing which was common. You see, I showed you their differences, but there is one thing which was very common in them and which you need also, because if that is not there, then whatever you do, you will not be able to perform your best. And that is, what that is? Can you guess? Yes, that is confidence. Both of them had solid, high, very high confidence in themselves. They believed in themselves. And that's what you need to do also. You see, both of them faced failures. They were not successful every time. They faced failures. But did they stop believing in themselves or believing in their cause? They did not. So why would you? Why would you stop believing in your cause, which is making a better life for yourself? Why should you stop believing in yourself? Right? So even if you do not perform in a particular mock, doesn't matter. Yes, your capability score would be maybe high or maybe low in that mock. That also should not hit your confidence. Because my dear friend, you should remember, the person who is going to perform there is you. You are the solo hero. So you'll have to perform. If you do not perform there, nothing that I say, no advice that I can give you can help you. Because the doer in the test is you. So your confidence should be here. And high confidence does not mean doing everything. High confidence does not mean not leaving question. No. High confidence means that I'll be able to do best in this paper to the best of my capabilities. When this is your confidence's manifestation, then what would happen? If you have to leave question, that would not hurt your ego, because you know you are doing it for the betterment of your paper or betterment of your score. So it would not hit your confidence. Rather, it would increase your confidence. See, mindset changes, small changes, and the way you look at the whole thing changes entirely, right? And that's what I wanted to share with you today. These small things helps you to, transform yourself from an average performer to a blockbuster performer. And that's what I want from you this time. Thank you very much and all the best.